If you're going to be a great leader, you have to get to know your people. You have to find out what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how they learn, what they need to really develop. And more than anything else, though, you've got to build that trust. You have to engage them so people know that they can count on you. And sometimes that involves going above and beyond the call of duty. I told you I'd finished my story about quitting as a high school senior, quitting the football team. How did I go from quitting to really respecting that coach and getting a scholarship and speaking to you today as a football coach when I quit as a senior? Well, it goes back to my junior high assistant principal, a man named Leroy Rockamore. He came in as a new administrator when I was in the 7th grade. And one of the first things he did was come in and sit down with us at the lunch table. And of course, when the assistant principal sits down at the lunch table, what do you think happened? All the conversation stopped. What is he here for? Why is he sitting down? Who is he trying to catch? He must be looking for one of us. So we ate. Nobody said a word. 2 days later, here he comes again. He sits down and he starts talking about the Detroit Tigers and does anybody want to go to the game? Did we see this? And he did that about 8 or 10 times. And we finally figured out this guy, he's not trying to catch anybody in anything. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to sit down and get to know us. Well, for the 2 years that I was in middle school, he just became a guy who cared about us and wanted to see us do well. Well, fast forward, 5 years later, after I quit the team, I get a phone call, and it's Mr. Rockamore. And he said, word on the street is you quit. And I said, that's right. My coach doesn't know anything. And he said, well, I need you to come over and talk to me. And if he'd have just been the assistant principal that just got the grades and gave out the discipline and just did that, I probably would not have gone. But because he had befriended us, I hadn't talked to him in 3 years, I went over to his house that night. And he said something to me that it changed my life. He said, even if your coach doesn't know anything, I'm not saying he doesn't, but even if he doesn't, and even if you think he's a terrible guy, why would you let someone else stop you from doing something that you like to do? Now, my dad had told me that before, but I couldn't listen to my dad. But when Mr. Rockamore said it, that makes sense. And because he had the just compassion to sit down at the lunch table 5 years earlier, he changed my life. And he got me to go back and apologize to my coach and go back on the football team. And that's leadership, engaging your people so that they know you're not just the boss, but you really care about them.